Hello and welcome to this demonstration. Today we will look at the comprehensive integration between FortiAnalyzer and FortiSOAR, and in the process also look at how this integration helps to both detect and quickly respond to threats, right? Let's start by diving into FortiAnalyzer and look at some of the events. But before that, let's talk about the integration itself, right? So let me go into FortiSOAR, Content Hub. Let me bring up the analyzer connector that we have, right? So here I have just configured that, and to let you know, there are a lot of actions that you can do with the integration today, right? So of course you can get the events, you can ingest the events and map them to as FortiSOAR alerts, but that's not all. You can create incidents in analyzer, you can work with the whole incident management, get the incidents, update them. You can of course work with the events, you could get the assets involved in the incidents, you could work with the reporting, so you can run a report here, right, sitting here. You can fetch the report details, the user details, the endpoint, the devices. You can also work with the logs, right, at the log level if you need to, as part of your investigation. And then you can of course it's a complete multi-tenant sync that happens between analyzer and FortiSOAR. You can work with the master device by slave devices, adding new devices across ADOMs, right? You can authorize devices. It's a lot of actions that you can do, as I was talking about, as part of this integration. Okay, so let me quickly jump into analyzer back here and show you what a use case might be. All of these events that we see here, right, are flowing into FortiSOAR as alerts, right? So let's say some of these, right, the traffic to CNC from XPC has been detected. Let's say one of these here, and Erin Clark's laptop has been detected, right? So if I go back here and just try to see, yeah, these are some events that we see here, and let me pick up one of these. Let's say the traffic from Erin Clark. I think that's the one that is already here, right? So as I go here, first thing that you would see that there has been enrichment that has happened. So all the details from analyzer has been pulled in, right? The right type has been assigned. These you get the device IDs, the tags, the source IP, the destination IP. Everything has been extracted and put into a good picture to start looking at, right? You see the indicators has been extracted here. That's the source IP, that's probably the Erin Clark's laptop, and that's the destination IP where that's the bad CNC server, in my opinion, right? So even the moment it comes, the enrichment has happened. In this case, I have VirusTotal IP stack configured. It could be FortiGuard, it could be a lot of hundreds of threat intel that FortiSOAR has connected, has connections to, has connectors to, right? In this case, you get the details. What's the enrichment? What's the VirusTotal talking about? Where is this IP located? What's the whois, and etc. So based on that, it gives you details telling you, okay, this is a malicious IP, and hence the alert is critical, right away, without even running a playbook. Let me go back to the recommendation engine, which is the AI ML running in the background. So looking at this alert, you might just say, okay, this is a CNC from one of these organization users detected. But hold on, the machine learning detects more patterns in the background and say, okay, this is just not one alert. There are more alerts that are there, which are related to this. For example, the CNC from Glenn Watts also. It could be from this 10.200.1.9 also, right? So 10.200.1.13. So many different alerts are similar to this alert, so kind of gives me an idea. This CNC server is doing its job with multiple other machines also, so there might be some malware dropped, right? So that's my initial assumption, because I'm not looking at a point alert now, I'm looking at this story, okay, right away. So let's go back, let's go into the other level of what does AI give me, what does intelligence give me. So it now says these are the suggested playbooks based on this type of alert, right? So first thing it tells me, now this is again recommendation from the engine. It says fetch device details from EMS, right? So this playbook basically goes to EMS, which I have here, the whole endpoint management server from, which we know, FortiClient Endpoint Management Server, and this is where the Erin Clark's laptop is currently good, in a good state, right? So what I'll do is pull these details right here into right, so I pull all of these details right into FortiSOAR. So I'll just trigger this playbook which says fetch device details from EMS. Okay, I've just triggered this, and let's go back to my comments. It says yeah, it's as a comment here, found asset in FortiEMS, details fetched, created and linked the asset with the alert. So when I go into correlations, I see, okay, the asset has been pulled up, right? If I go into this asset, which is a first class asset now, FortiSOAR has an asset inventory. It says Erin Clark, the host name, the property, the IP, the criticality, more details can be fetched. So it's now a first class asset linked to my alert. Now this asset details were pulled in from FortiEMS, as we saw. Okay, good. The asset details have been fetched. Now what? Since I know this is a malicious communication going on, probably there is a malware dropped here. My first intent would be to quarantine that asset, this this source asset, Erin Clark's laptop, in FortiEMS. But let's assume, since we know this Erin the laptop is critical asset, right? As you see here, I get this is a critical asset, so I do not know if I can just right away quarantine. So let's use the quarantine playbook in FortiSOAR, which will go out to Slack and get an approval from my manager before it quarantines. Let's take this simple use case into picture, and then we'll talk about it. So here the suggestion, of course, is, okay, it's a bad asset. The suggestion, the second playbook I should be running is the quarantine asset playbook. So I say execute, okay, and then I go back here. It says the running notes tell me the approval to quarantine the asset has been sent to the SOC manager on Slack. The approval is awaited. So I have Slack open here. Let me go back to Slack here. Okay, I see a new notification has come in. Okay, I'm on the move. I have the Slack app, and if I go here and say, okay, it says based on the event logs, we have confirmed that the following asset has been compromised. I say, okay, I say approve to block, okay, approve to quarantine rather. So when I go back here, here it says, right, so the approval received, asset 201.6 successfully quarantined in FortiEMS. So let's go back here. It was managed earlier. Let me refresh this right here. Oh, there you go. It's automatically now quarantined based on the Slack approval that was received, right? So very quickly, let me go back here and see. Okay, it says the approval has been received. It is quarantined. Okay, everything looking good, right? And let me quickly also go back to the playbook that ran in the background, right? So if you come here and go to the playbooks, so let's see which one, the quarantine asset playbook, right? So very simple, request approval in Slack and then quarantine the asset, right? So if you see the playbook itself, again, it just shows the simplicity of how you can string things. Now this could be EMS, this could have been FortiEDR, this could have been any other tool that you want to interact with. So for example here, the manual approval, the medium I have used is Slack, right? It could be MS Teams, it could be WhatsApp, it could be anything, right? So that's one. And here I use a simple FortiClient EMS, and I just do a block here. Okay, so coming back here, that just ends a very simple demonstration. And before I end it, let me also show you how now that, let's say, the cleanup has happened, the asset is now cleaned up, there's no traces of any malicious code or activity happening there. What I can now come here and say, what, unquarantine the asset, which was of course my third suggestion that the machine learning based recommendation engine gave me very, very correctly, if you see that. Okay, it says approval received, the asset has been unquarantined in EMS. Let me go back to EMS and refresh it. Yeah, so the asset is already unquarantined here, so all good, right? So now I've mitigated my threat. From an analyst perspective, it was starting from very apt recommendations that my solution gave me, and I just followed that. I just had all the picture ready for me. The integration worked with very well with EMS. It could be with EDR, it could be with Sandbox, it could be with any other product in the Fortinet family or even beyond. And that sums up the small use case that we wanted to demonstrate here. Thank you so much. Hope you found that meaningful. Thank you.